Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Man of the Hour series. My name is Ujjwal. I'm one of the co-founders at Zymrat. And through this series, we try to bring forth the conversation with some of the most interesting people that we have had the chance of meeting across the journey of building Zymrat. One of the common things between all these folks who come on this show is fitness. Now, today, I have a very, very special guest on the show. And this person is not just any other guest. He is a father. He is a successful fitness entrepreneur. He is a fitness freak himself. And he has built and executed a successful business from scratch. Without further ado, let me introduce you to the CEO and co-founder and founder of a very well-known fitness startup, Gympik. And most recently, he is an author as well. Welcome in the show, Amaresh.
Thank you. Thanks, Ujjwal.
Okay, Amaresh. So let me start off by asking some of the very basic things, man, because the situation that we're all going through is extremely tough, right? COVID-19 has kind of kicked everyone in the behind. So how are you? How's family and how's the extended Gympik family?
So it's good. Hopefully, we all are safe. We managed to get a vaccine some time back, and it's like today is the 50th day of complete lockdown in Bangalore, right? So yeah, I think it's the same story. The good thing is I have been able to work out throughout this time. I have set up a small gym in my balcony where I have most of these equipments, and I try to make sure I work out at least like 5 days a week. So yeah, because see a lot of time when things are not in control, and even if you think or worry about that, you can't bring a change. So the best thing is don't think about it, right? So because it's such a global pandemic, like there's hardly that we can do.
Right.
I was like, okay, let it go. Once it goes, things comes back to normal, we'll think about business and see how we can take it forward.
No, very well said, Amaresh, because I was on a similar conversation on a similar note with somebody else. And, right before, we kind of went into lockdown and things were getting really tough. One of the mentors that I always speak to, and we were discussing a lot of things. And he said, in these situations, just as you said, we figure out what are the good things that can be done, and we take decisions from the gut instead of kind of trying to evaluate how the business is going to impact it. So that exactly shows the kind of experience Amaresh brings on the board, guys. I'm very, very happy, very elated to be speaking to you, Amaresh, today. Seriously.
Thank you. Same here.
Okay, Amaresh, so one thing which always intrigues me, and being from the same field of, fitness entrepreneurship is how the journey started. Now, I want to cover it in like a couple of steps for you. So, number one question from my side would be, were you always a fitness guy? Like when you were being abroad by your parents, was fitness a part of your life, or did it happen later in your life? Second question is, how did the idea of, kind of Gympik happen, and how did you decide that there's an opportunity to be built here?
So if you look at the society or the culture that we have been brought up, fitness is not a part of it, I would say. I mean, even when you are a kid, the only exposure you have of fitness is you go play with your friends. But there's no regime. Like we used to play football, we used to play cricket, and all the games that you can think of in all these smaller towns. But once you get into a professional life, or if you get into a professional college, the exposure to fitness is almost zero. Like, I mean, hardly people have any exposure to fitness. You don't like going to gym, or you don't find. And for all these sports, the problem is you can play that in a team only. That's a bigger challenge, and the same thing even I had when I was working in software for like 7-8 years. I was like doing nothing. I mean, you go to office, you code, and come home, relax, spend time with the family. So that's where it started. I started is like, so you always think about that, like what's the holistic wellness stuff. So I have been into a lot of mental wellness. I have been meditating for like more than a decade now. The similar way the fitness journey also started. I started going to a gym, then different kind of studios, got a trainer, trained with him, and slowly I started liking it. So what happens is, this is the thing we see, like once anything becomes a habit or it becomes part of your life, you start liking it. And the same thing happened with me, and I became more passionate about it. I started reading more about it. I started seeing videos of people, started talking to people in the industry. And that's where the idea of my venture came. I realized like this industry itself has a lot of problems, and technology can play a bigger role. At that point of time, we had Zomato, we had Yelp, where you can find restaurants, you can find cars, whatnot. But when you need to find a gym or if you need to find a yoga studio, there was no platform like. So that's how the idea of Gympik seeded. We launched this portal. We started listing all these centers. We started with Bangalore. Then we got into 20 cities across the country. Now we have 16,000 plus gyms on the portal on the listing side, and slowly. So once you get into one thing, and the deeper and deeper you start going, you see the industry closely, and you start seeing bigger problems or the other problems where you can start working on. So we realize there are a lot of problems on the supply side, which also can be solved with technology. That's where we got our B2B software, which is called TrackAid, which is an entire club management software made specifically for the Indian context. And we have now almost 2,000 plus centers using the software, paying us every month a recurring revenue. So yeah, that's the story of Gympik in short.
So that's lovely to hear, Amaresh. So, I of course have been interacting with you, I guess for more than a couple of years now. And I've seen, of course, Gympik, kind of grow into a successful business as well. So what is the plan ahead for Gympik, Amaresh? Like, what is it going to look like in next, let's say, 3 to 5 years?
So, obviously there's a cut down of 2 years from our entire charter because of the COVID, right? We wanted to get into a few of the Middle East and the Southeast Asian countries in 2020 itself. We had already had in Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, but we could not do much. So the plan is once things stabilizes, we have we have a company, or we have a model which is being proven in the Indian context and which is globally relevant. So we are going to continue with that, where we launch TrackAid, we launch Gympik in Singapore, Malaysia, and Philippines to start with. Slowly, we'll get into the Gulf countries, few of them which we have already identified, get into the US market, and then after that become global. The other thing that we are thinking is, since we are already doing so many things for the fitness category, there's a related category, or I would say extended category, which is into wellness retreats, yoga retreats, or even the wellness spa, salons, those kind of things. So we are going to extend our offering even to them. So that's the expansion strategy that we have.
Correct. That's amazing. And I'm sure, the kind of impact Gympik has had on the entire community is pretty large, because I'm sure a lot of people use that platform to find out gym classes.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay, Amaresh, so one thing I want to ask you right away off the bat, right? Now, you are one of the few guys in Indian startup ecosystem who practices fitness, very religiously. I mean, I've seen you on your Instagram or WhatsApp. You constantly lift weights, go for your run, meditation, as you said. Of course, people do practice, do take care of their bodies or do practice meditation, things like that. But there are very few folks who I know who do it religiously as a routine, and you are few of them, right? So what is it like? How did you develop this habit? That is number one. And what is the impact that you are kind of seeing of having this habit of living a healthy lifestyle across your personal life as well as in professional life?
I think it's a very good question, and that's how, if a later point of time when we talk about the book which you have written, this book is all about how any individual can make fitness a habit. It's about whatever plan you pick up. You like lifting weights, you lift that. You like running, you do that. CrossFit, anything. But I have a scientific model. If you apply that, it can become part of your life. So that's how it is. Why I do that? Because I think in the COVID context, we also have seen one thing. Like, if you look at the overall need that we have, is not much. I mean, the credit card bill of people have become like almost 1/10 of what it used to be. People are not ready to go anywhere. So the only thing that you have or that you can enjoy now is good health. This is somebody who is healthy, who has a fit body. I mean, only he knows the joy of having that, right? I mean, you have been working out, you know what I'm talking about, right? And the similar thing happens when you have the strong mental health. I mean, meditation or practicing mindfulness. So I see it had changed my life a lot. I am a completely reformed man, I would say, because I wasn't like that. I was like a very traditional middle class born boy who was taking a very, very calculated risks and everything. The other thing that you do, so suppose if you start lifting weights or if you are into any kind of fitness, you also challenge your limits every day. And the similar habit, you try to do it in all the parts of life. So as an entrepreneur, also you try to use this technique. Like, okay, I have been lifting this, I have been challenging myself. Can I do it here? And this has worked really well for me. And you will see the interview of these Fortune 500 CEOs or the people who have funded the company. They echo the similar thing. Like, okay, yeah, if you are mentally fit or if you are mentally challenging yourself, you tend to do that every day. So for me, it's a life shift where my life has changed completely, and I feel it's all for good. If you look at the overall happiness that we define, where we have different parameters, where we talk about the emotional health, the mental health, the spiritual health, and the physical health, I try to make a balance of all this and lead a happy life.
Correct. I'm glad that you brought all the other health along with physical health, because more often than not, and this is what we have been trying to kind of do across our communication at Zymrat as well. More often than not, when we talk about health or fitness, it's always looked upon as a physical part, right? When you mentioned that mental health, spiritual health, that has equal amount of role to play in the growth as a human being. That makes a lot of sense, right? Could I take the liberty of saying that fitness has had a big role to play in your life, of becoming a successful entrepreneur and running it successfully?
It's the biggest influencer in my life.
What does a day look like, man? I mean, it's I'm sure not only me, but a lot of folks are intrigued to know, managing a big team, having a family to look after, and then of course taking care of your health, and most recently, kind of writing a book. So what does a day look like in your life, Amaresh?
It's very easy. I take it very, very easy. I think the one of the things when you are healthy, what again I mean by physically and mentally, you tend to focus more. And there is something which I have been trying to tell, and there's a next book which I'm writing. It's called Mindful Fitness, where we talk about how being focused increases your efficiency everywhere. So I try to focus on the work which is at hand, one thing at a time, and the different techniques that we follow. I start my day at I typically get up at 7:30 types. Get ready is like half an hour, 45 minutes of meditation, breakfast, and I hit my work at 9 types. 9 till 12, and then 5 o'clock, 5:30 is when I wrap up my work for the day. Then 5:30 to 6:37 is my workout time. Then with the family, again, if meeting or things needed, I log in for a couple of hours and leave. That's how life is. One thing, I make sure I eat at least 6 meals in a day, and that's again a part of things. So I have my lunch box packed all the time. I make sure I'm eating at regular intervals. So my needs and as an individual are very less. I mean, I don't eat very, or I don't eat very luxury or those kind of things. Vegetarian and simply cook, like sattvic food, what we call. I have a liking for that. So that's how life is.
Dude, I think that's a great analogy, right? Because when you say that, you try to keep simple things in your life, and that helps you in kind of finding success in different departments. And this is something which I keep discussing, and especially I keep discussing with Ankita, who's my co-founder, is that food is a very intimate, or let's say eating is a very intimate ritual, right? And every time you are eating, you're putting something into your body. It's extremely intimate process. Every time we eat, I guess, half an hour before eating and half an hour after eating. I mean, that time window is also gone. And that is why people who do intermittent fasting, or let's say 48-hour fast, which we have done on multiple occasions, those days are the days when you find the most amount of focus, and you find that you can work on things without any distraction whatsoever.
True.
So when you say, the sattvic food and kind of keeping things simple, I'm definitely on the same page, Amaresh. Thanks for bringing that point up. So Amaresh, now next thing is something I want to learn from you is how has your routine, or how has your ritual of fitness, keeping yourself mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, impacted your family? Because you're a married man, you're a dad to kids, you're a father. How has that impacted them? And do you see your family kind of following you on this path as well?
So the family is very happy. So one of the angles which we need to highlight is also about emotional wellness. I mean, emotionally, what kind of energy do you carry? So are you a person who carry positive emotional vibes, what we call, right? Or are you something who has a very negative influence? I mean, the moment you come into the family or you walk into the house, people are scared, people are just running away from you. It also depends how well or how managed you are. See, if you have these positive vibes, positive emotions, I mean, people will like to talk to you. I mean, not only your family but your neighbors, guests, whomever you meet, people would love to talk to you, right? It's a thing that if you practice, you must be knowing that what I'm talking about. So it has a similar impact on your family. I mean, if people like to be with you or people like to talk to you, the good things or the things that you talk about, obviously it creates a positive vibe in the entire family. Then everybody tries to practice something similar. So I think that's something I have been trying to do for last couple of years, where we have a dedicated family time. When we eat together, we try to do the mindful eating. I mean, nobody is watching a screen or nobody is looking into a phone. But I think the focus is more on the food or how we are eating or what we are eating, talking about those. So I think it creates a special bonding uh, among the family members. It has worked really well for me, and I'm quite happy with that.
Amazing. That's great to know, Amaresh. So, kind of reiterating the same thing, Amaresh, right? Because especially because it's a Father's Day, it's quite a big occasion for people who are dads. I'm sure your kids have something planned for you as well.
True.
So what is the impact that you are seeing, and do you have a message that you want to give out? I mean, there are a lot of people, I'm sure, who are already dad who are listening to this show, or people who plan to become fathers down their life. What do you have a message, about fitness and health and how it plays a very important key role in the entire journey of being a father or fatherhood?
True. See, two things I would like to highlight. I mean, one of the cultural thing that the people above our generation or the previous generation had was most of the fathers wanted their kids to become what they could not become. I mean, their aspirations or their dreams, they wanted their kids to fulfill. There's nothing wrong in that. I mean, I would say there's nothing wrong in that. I mean, a lot of cricketers who could not become a successful cricketer, they always want their kids to become successful in that. There's nothing wrong in that. But my only thing is, you should not force to do those things. I mean, you should try to find ways to create interest for those activities. The similar way it comes for fitness. I mean, if you are a father and if you don't practice fitness, you are not fit, and you just tell your kid like, okay, go and work out, or you go and run for 5 kilometers. I mean, it will not have an impact. I mean, he will stop taking you seriously, right? So practice before you preach, right? I mean, if you can run 10 kilometers, then tomorrow you can go and tell him, see, I did 10, why don't you do 5? It also build a pressure, and see, all the kids, they look up to their fathers. I mean, you're kind of a role model for your sons or the daughters. I mean, every kid thinks that his or her father is a hero. So can you carry forward that image and bring the positive impact on the person who is following? So that's my key thing. You have to be fit. You have to be following the right things. You have to be doing the right things which you want yourself to do. And I think this is very, very critical. We just can't preach like, okay, it's only for the kids, it's not for me.
That's a great point, Amaresh, and I just hope that a lot of parents are listening to this and this message goes out to them, because I have had this similar discussion with many people who are kind of worried about, let's say, kids not being very active or kids watching a lot of television. It's just the fact that they are following you. I mean, if you watch television,
absolutely.
10 hours a day.
See, I talk to a lot of parents and they have been complaining, okay, my son is glued to the TV. I always tell, but you are also glued to your telephone. I mean, the mobile phone. Stop it, he'll probably stop. So can we make this practice? Can we build a habit? I mean, you might have your own challenges where you have to work on the phone or on the laptop, but can you segregate your work and life? Can you draw a line and tell like, okay, this is my work time, and after that, I'm not going to use it. So if you start making this discipline and make it visible to your kids, I think it's going to have a big impact on them.
Great. I think this is one of the best messages to kind of send out on the occasion of Father's Day. We'll come to Father's Day and the sun bonding again, probably at the end of the conversation.
Sure.
I because I was really liking what you were speaking. But before we go there, I want to highlight something here. Here's something that I have in my hand. I guess it's.
Thank you.
I guess it's not visible in the right direction, but it's called Fitness Habits, guys. This is a book that Amaresh has written, very recently, and it has been getting rave reviews from all the readers, including me. And it has sold multiple copies on Amazon and across. Yeah. So Amaresh, first question is, how did this happen? How did you go from the entrepreneur to author?
It's all about an experience, and as an individual, you always want to share your learnings with a wider audience. And this is my small contribute to the fitness industry. Obviously, I have done a company which was more for the profit, but this is for something who want to do anything in fitness actually. And I have spoken to thousands of trainers across the globe, people who are working as trainers, going to the gyms. And this is a summary of that learning where it's not like a one size fits all. If you see at the other books available in the market, it's like how to make six pack in 6 weeks or how to get your carbs under control. It doesn't talk about all those things. It talks about how you can make fitness. And we looked at the habit forming techniques which have been discussed in different books, Atomic Habits, Power of Habit, and we extended it to the fitness category. We did a lot of research for that. We also proposed that the habit forming in fitness is not 21 days, it's like 90 days. And how is 90 days and what are things we need to keep doing so that it becomes part of it. And that's the message is for anyone who wants to do fitness. See, I have not written this book as a fitness trainer or a guide to do, but it's for anyone who wants to make it a part of life, any kind of fitness. So yeah, this is a small contribution I see to this overall fitness industry.
That is amazing, Amaresh. And when did you write this, by the way? Did it happen during the lockdown?
Yes, it happened during the first lockdown when most of the gyms were shut. Our business was also shut because we cater to the gyms. We didn't have much to do. So I was like, why to think about what's happening in the world? Let's do something positive, which can be a good result or which can have a positive impact on people. And I have been thinking about this book for a while. So it took me almost a year to finalize it, and finally we released this book. So yeah, see, one of the messages which I would like to give it to everyone who really wants to become better in life is that you need to find ways to improve yourself. See, I have studied in a Hindi medium school for till 10th of my life. Till 10th I had studied in Hindi medium. I never thought I'll aspire and write a book in English or something which I have never done. But again, I took this as a challenge and I do it. And if you have been practicing fitness, you will keep challenging yourself at different aspects of life. And that's the kind of impact fitness has bring in me.
You're going to give a massive FOMO to a lot of people, man.
Not really.
Because while everybody was figuring out what to do in lockdown, you went ahead and released a book. That is amazing, right?
Yeah.
So Amaresh, let me start off by asking you a few things about the books in detail, right? Now, there's a very interesting first chapter in the book itself, which says why exercising sucks. I guess that is what it's called.
Yes.
Right? What do you mean by that? What are you trying to convey through why exercising sucks?
See, most of the time if you ask somebody to do exercise or go and do exercise or do some workout, so suppose if you're talking to your friends or your neighbors and you tell them that you need to do exercise, right? So see, most of the time people take it as a punishment. And as long as you take something as a punishment, you will not enjoy it. If something that you don't enjoy, it definitely sucks for you. So that's what we talk about, why for majority of the people. Because see, in India, who goes to a gym or who takes a fitness? 90%, it's not 97, 75% of the people who start it only because there's a doctor or somebody has told him, see, your vitals are crossing the limit now, you need to do something. So it's most like a pill for them. And who enjoy a pill, man? So it's more like a medicine for them, and they really don't enjoy that. So that's what we talk about, and there is something we have been trying to explain, like why to reach that level where you don't like it, develop a liking, the desire to become better. I mean, see, if you become fit, there are two aspects of it, right? You will feel good and you will look good, right? So which one do you aspire to? I mean, which one do you want to be? You have to have one of the desires. The moment you find the desire, you will start liking. And that's what we talk about in the book. Do you have a desire to start fitness? If you don't, then go and find it. The moment you get it, you'll start liking. So I think that's the summary of the first chapter.
No, amazing, amazing. And I kind of agree with you to the fact that because I'm sure everybody who's even listened to this episode would have experienced it at some point in time, either through their parents or to their friends or siblings. At the moment you say to people that, and I experience it all the time with my own family members, but the moment you say them that you have to exercise or walk or run, it's like a punishment.
Absolutely,
yeah. So I guess it's very, very interesting, and that is why I think a lot of cool points have been highlighted in the book. Now, Amaresh, going from that chapter to, let's say, a little advanced, in the middle of the book, you talk about some interesting things where you compare fitness to nothing but habit formation, right? And you have mentioned that it's not actually 21-day habit, which have been, I would say, popularized across, over the period of many years, but rather a 90-day habit, right? So what are the top 3 key takeaways? Or let's say if somebody is going to come to you, a novice or somebody who is into fitness but maybe not that serious, comes to you and asks you that, how can I make fitness a habit? Or how can I make the holistic fitness a habit?
So if you look at the habit loop, we talk about 3 things. There's a cue that you follow, like, okay, at 6 o'clock, when I come back from the office, that's the kind of cue. And on certain cue, you follow a routine. What you happen that if you keep repeating that, there's a reward that you'll achieve. What happens, the rewards are something that you like to feel, basically either visibly or something that you can feel. So what happens in the case of fitness? So even if you have been exercising, if I tell you like, okay, on a cue, which is like you come back from office, you go to gym, work out for an hour, and if you repeat this plan for 21 days, it becomes a habit as per the traditional plan. But what happens in the case of fitness, to see the visual changes in your body? Suppose somebody is looking, okay, my tummy will go in, which is something that he's expecting is my reward. If you follow that, you will not see the changes, because to see the visual changes, it takes at least 90 months, right? And that's where we talk about, like, because the moment you start seeing the rewards, you will keep repeating it and it becomes a habit loop and it becomes part of your life. So there we talk about smaller rewards. So what do I mean by that is like, okay, even if it's a 90-day journey to see the bigger reward, but there are these smaller rewards which you can keep feeling every day or every 10 days. What do I mean by that? You keep a reward like, okay, after the 10th day, I should be able to do 10 push-ups in one go. Can you do that? So keep that as a reward, right? So smaller rewards till you achieve the bigger reward is the key. That's what we talk about in the book. Like, you don't give up. You have to be consistent for 90 days. Keep repeating the routine that you have thought. We have also spoken about, like, see one of the key thing what we talk about, like, how do you make a habit of going to the gym? So we talk about as soon as is your cue, you just change yourself into the gym wear. I mean, at least wear your shoes, right? The moment you do that, you will end up going to the gym, right? Because see, that's where is the pushback. It's like you are like, okay, I'll skip today. But the moment you get into the gym where you are like, okay, I'll go and do something. So that's the way you need to follow your cue. And after that, you start smaller. I think that's the key. See, everybody wants to become Arnold Schwarzenegger on day 1 or within a month, which is not going to happen, right? You start smaller. Even if you can run for 5 minutes, which is enough on the first day, 10 minutes, whatever it is. But start smaller, but keep doing it regularly. And how you do that, you need to set these smaller rewards, keep achieving those. And the moment you cross these 90 days line, you will start seeing visual changes in your body. And you will start really enjoying the new you. And after that, you will get into that. And it becomes more like an addiction, which is not the right word to use, but it becomes a positive habit.
No, that's a very interesting point about small rewards, and also
Yeah.
a very interesting thing because I have had personal interaction with many folks, especially after COVID, where
Yeah.
people have been falling off the wagon multiple times, but every time they have been able to come back because they started small. Like, let's say earlier you were able to go to gym, like work out for 1 hour and all that stuff, but now with work from home and work out from home, if you've fallen back to, let's say, a sedentary lifestyle, probably starting back with a 5 minute or 10 minute workout can lead
Absolutely.
you to getting back to the same intensity. So latching on to the same question, Amaresh, one more thing I wanted to learn was, if somebody wants to transform this habit loop or use this habit loop mechanism in their nutrition and food as well, because food is of course one of the biggest part of the fitness.
True.
Can they do that? Can they also use it?
Yeah. They absolutely, see, the habit forming thing is very generic. That can be used for any of the things. What we have done is we have put it into the fitness context, where we talk about how smaller things matter a lot. How, see, I'll take one example. How hiring a trainer can make it better. I mean, if you hire a trainer, the chances of becoming it a habit is much higher, because there's somebody who's pushing you every day, who is showing you those smaller rewards. Like, okay, so you are becoming better and those kind of things. We talk about those kind of things. The similar thing happens even for the food, or the good or the clean eating. People can definitely follow that.
Great, that is amazing to learn. So now one of my I would say most favorite part in the book is where you talk that motivation is passé, or let's say motivation is overrated, right? And I think this is one of the best things that you have written about, because definitely motivation is something which is temporary or could lead to, let's say, temporary burst of emotions which
Exactly.
can push you towards an activity but may not be consistent. And then you also go ahead and mention that environment is what matters the most, right? So do you want to talk a little bit about that, Amaresh? What do you mean by
Absolutely. I think this is very, very critical, and I'm so glad that you highlighted it. See, a lot of time you like the company of people who share similar habits or the similar likings, right? So I'll tell you, if you are a fitness enthusiast, you would like to talk to people who are more into fitness, who like clean eating, or the people who have been working out regularly. If you really want to make fitness a habit, try to make a company like that. Suppose if you are in a company of people or in a group of people who like to booze every evening, obviously you are not going to make fitness a lifestyle. So that's the kind of changes you need to bring in, and that's where in the book I talk about, if you are really finding it hard to push yourself, join one of the group workouts. Like you opt for CrossFit, or you opt for Zumba or whatnot. There are so many things now. Because what happens, the environment also gives you a push, where two things, you also get a chance to socialize with people, right? There are different set of people. That also becomes a smaller reward, because that's a break from your routine life. So that's something you will definitely enjoy. And also, because you are working in a group, you see somebody else doing a workout, you tend to try. I mean, you always compete with those people, like, okay, if they can do, why I can't? So that's something I talk about in the book in more detail, where I talk about the importance of the group workouts. And it's not always motivation. It's not always motivation, actually. A lot of time when you are emotionally drained, you are not feeling well, also you can go and do a workout, and you may become better or refreshed after that. So that's the key.
And I guess it applies to the larger context of family as well. And since we were talking about family and kids earlier, because let's say once as a father or as a dad, or let's say as a husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, father, mother, anybody, right? A brother, sister, siblings. If you are following a certain lifestyle, probably you're building that surrounding for everyone else as well, where they get motivated. Exactly what you were saying earlier, like how you spend time with family on food and all that stuff.
True.
So I one thing I know, Amaresh, this is your first book, right? Correct?
Yes, this is my first book. Yeah.
And I've seen people all across writing really good reviews about it. So how does it feel?
It feels good, man. It feels good. I feel better if more people of this country make fitness a part of their lifestyle. Obviously, I have no gain or anything in that, but it's just that it is going to become a fitter planet, and which is key for all of us. I mean, if you have a healthier body, you have a better mind, you will be into more positive. So I think it has its own impact.
No, that is amazing. That is amazing, Amaresh.
Yeah.
So, before, I kind of jump into the last part of the conversation, Amaresh, quick highlight on how do you promote or how do you tackle your own mental and spiritual health? Because you highlighted that in the beginning of the conversation itself. So, what are your key, I would say, techniques or ways to handle, let's say, stress on a day-to-day basis or handle your life in a very, very balanced manner? What are your 2 to 3 key takeaways or key techniques that you want to talk about for mental and spiritual health and emotional?
Exactly. So, coming to the mental and the emotional health, I have been practicing meditation and mindfulness for a while, where I use different techniques. I mean, Vipassana is something which I have been practicing for more than 5 years now, but there are a lot of other techniques which I practice, which are derived from the Mahamudra technique, what we call in Buddhism. I do that. I am also very spiritual. It doesn't mean that I'm a hardcore religious person, but I take away the learnings or the messages that we have from the Vedic tradition, right? Where we talk about the importance of mantra chanting, or how you can control your mind, or it's as simple as how you be aware of your mind. So that's the kind of different techniques which I use, and once you get into that, you know how to control your mind, and all these techniques are based on that. So I that's how I control my emotions. Even if there's an anger, you know, like you can control it, or even if there's a sad phase, you know, like it's a temporary state of the mind, because there are these thoughts which are going on, how you are going to neutralize these thoughts, or how you can going to bring it down. So yeah, I mean, once you start practicing these smaller techniques, so I always suggest people like start with these smaller breathing techniques, or the body scanning techniques. You'll see a lot of results. I mean, you'll see a different person in few years or few months. So that's the key which I have been following for some time, and I think it's working really well for me.
That's great to know. And I guess starting off, and I think I've spoken across length to many people about this, and one common thing which has always come out of the conversation is what you said. Start with the breathing technique. That is one of the best ways to kind of get into any kind of mental balance techniques, or getting control of your mental health or emotional health or spiritual health, or basically trying to take control of your life overall, the surroundings as well.
No, absolutely, that's very critical.
Yeah. So now, kind of jumping towards the end of the conversation, Amaresh, do you want to tell people like where they can find the book? And I have the book again in my hand guys. It's called Fitness Habits.
Yeah. So the book is available on Amazon, Flipkart, or any of the leading bookstores around you if they are open, because most of the bookstores across the country are shut because of the lockdown. But it's easily available on Amazon Prime, even on Flipkart, so people can buy on all the channels.
Okay, and what is the next book that we are going to see from Amaresh Ojha?
Okay, so I know it's going to be a mix of mental health and the fitness health, which I call how do you make a habit, or how do you practice mindful fitness when you are I mean, you would have heard about, or I'm sure you must be knowing about mind and muscle combination that we talk about, but people in the general context don't realize the value of it. Like when you are mindful or when you are focused, you tend to get better results when you do a fitness or anything. So that's why the people who do this hatha yoga and different kind of yogas, even if it's for a short tenure, like half an hour, 45 minutes, but the results are immense. So I'm going to talk about that now, like how you can make it a practice, and it's going to balance your body and the mind both. Let's see how it goes. But I mean, it's too early for that. It's still in the thought process, where I have just put an outline for the book. I see how much time I get for this and how I can put it together.
Looking forward to read that as well, Amaresh.
Cool,
before we say goodbye to everyone, Amaresh, Father's Day is just around the corner, and I know you as, I would say, one of the few fittest dads around in my company.
Oh, thank you.
So please give a message to everyone who is a father or a dad, or who's going to become a father or dad later in their life. How important and how key is health? How big of a key is being healthy and fit in your kid's life as a dad?
So my message to all the fathers or the would-be fathers is guys, there's you have a lot of responsibility to fulfill. For the people who are going to become a father, for them also, I think is much more than that. And if you are not fit, I mean, obviously you are not going to fulfill that. So to be a good father or a father who can fulfill all the things which come on the way is very, very critical that you take care of yourself and keep your body fit. So I think that's my mantra to all these people.
So I hope people get that key takeaway that we have to stay healthy, you have to stay
Absolutely.
fit, kind of play an important role in your kid's life. On that note, Amaresh, thanks a lot for giving us time.
Thank you, Ujjwal. Thank you. Thanks a lot for letting me share my thoughts and talk about my book. I hope people will have some takeaways from this.
Yes, I'm sure people will have a lot of takeaways from this, and I'm sure you're going to get many more readers for the book in the coming months.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys, that was Mr. Amaresh Ojha, the CEO and founder of Gympik, a dad, a fit dad. On that note, and of course, a very recent author. Do check out his book called as Fitness Habits. And as usual, do not forget to check out our store Zymrat.com for some really cool fitness gear. All the best. We'll see you again soon. Bye.